Yeah,
I have no.
I can hear you, but it's not clear. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sean Joyce. I want to welcome you to the Curling Stadium Martensville International live coverage. We're down to the final day of the preliminary round. Teams battling for playoff spots. The feature matchup on this sheet. We've got Colton Flasch coming into this draw this morning with a record of 3-0. Already looking at probably a playoff spot. He could clinch some kind of playoff spot with a win today. Kody Hartung has struggled so far in this event. They come in the record of 0-3. They're going to need to win their last two, and they would still need a lot of help to make some kind of tiebreaker and see how that works out for them. Hartung team with the Redstones here in the opening end of play. They've got second shot, but you can see it's sandwiched in between those two blues. Colton Flasch doesn't really have a way to get that out right now. And it is the Flasch team, I believe. Didn't see the practice, but I believe it's the Flasch team with last rock here in the opening end. On to third stones right now. Captain Schneider looking to make the hit on the redstone, the 12-foot. I don't know if they're going to try to. You could just play almost a straight nose hit here and try to move that, just chip that redstone out of the middle of the two blues. Looks like they're going to play for the hit and roll towards the corner, though. Thin contact on the first stone, but with that quiet weight, enough to hold his shooter, and it does roll to the back corner of the 8-foot in behind cover. Sits for fourth shot right now. Kody Hartung electing to make a play on those three stones in the middle. You can kill the back blue and the top blue. The red in the middle is not going very far, and it's a question of where you can roll your shooter. You'd like to be sitting 2 when this is done. Makes the hit, but that first one, a fairly solid jam, doesn't leave the rings. So right now it appears to be Flasch sitting 3rd and 4th, and a chance to make a double on the 2 stones in the 4-foot. Could be sitting 3 when this is done. Schneider came down to take a look at the angles here. I think they're debating which way they want to roll here. Now, if you roll towards the red stone on the edge of the 12-foot, you're probably only killing one of the 2 in the 4-foot, but you'd leave yourself sitting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and that red stone left in the 4-foot would be looking pretty lonely. They might be a little concerned if they roll towards the 3 or the 2 stones already on the right-hand side as we look at it from the hack end. You roll over there and Kody Hartung freezes something anywhere in front of those, what would be 3 blues at that time, and you take your end away. So it looks like the end decision was to roll towards the corner guard. That on ice, I don't think he's throwing it real big. So might not actually get both reds out even hitting it this way. Well, this is going to have to curl just to make contact. Catches the first red, drives it across the top. The second actually jams it on one of the blues behind that corner guard, and now it's Kody Hartung sitting 2 and a chance to maybe set up a steal or at least a force here in this opening end when it was looking like he was in some trouble. Kody Hartung is backed by his brother Tyler at 3rd. New to the team this year at 2nd is Brady Scharback. And Brady Kendall plays lead. First stone here, the opening end for Kody Hartung. Brushers pick this up right away. Picked it up right away, have not left it. And gets a nice tight guard. Maybe leaves a sliver on the center line side. So that'll be what Colton Flasch has to look at. Maybe enough room to come down and move it at least. It's got a piece of the button. He'd like to move it so that he's got room to score 2 if he could, but can't see a lot of it. Colton Schneider holding the broom, and it is the Twins playing front end for the Colton Flasch team. It's Kevin Marsh plays 2nd and Daniel plays lead. This Flasch team, as I mentioned off the top, off to a strong start here in this event, 3-0. They have had last rock in the first end in every one of their games so far, and they have put on all kinds of pressure. Nice line as he comes by the guard. Now the question is, does he have enough weight to move it? He'll come down and sit right on top of it, but does not move it, and I think it still looks to be Kody Hartung still sitting shot rock. So likely looking for just one more guard here. You could put it completely on the other side of the center line. I don't know what Colton Flasch would have left. I guess there's always a run back of some sort. You're taking a little bit of a risk when you're running a red one back, and red is sitting third shot as well. Pressures were on this one too, but I don't think quite as hard as the last one. Now picking up the brush a little bit more. And he will close off the hole. I don't know that there's a draw available for Colton Flasch. Looking at the straight back run back on the red, just to the left of the center line as we look at it from the hack end, right from the overhead side. You'd be hard pressed to kill the blue running that one back. And really that's their concern here. If you play any kind of run back, if you were risking killing that blue, it could be a steal of 2. You'd hate to do that. But that blue-red combination in the forefoot, solidly frozen, and the red stone that's sitting just outside the rings, it's so straight back. I don't think you could catch that thin enough to kill the blue without losing the red run back stone and the stone behind it. So it would still at worst be a steal of 1. That's what you're looking at right now. And this is probably your best chance to score. Flasch looking for the straight back run. Not a lot of the sweepers yet, waiting for the line, needs to come up to the nose. On the front one, catches the second one and does move it just far enough. He will pick up his single point. Great shot by Colton Flasch to salvage the single with last rock here in the opening end of play. He's got a 1-0 lead. Kody Hartung will have last rock in the second.
We truly believe that this is an opportunity to partner within a sport that is emerging. It's getting stronger and stronger every year. And the continued success of teams like yourselves really helps to elevate not only the sport, but also those companies that are involved with you.
We love being part of community events and community participation, everything from golf to hockey to curling to supporting teams like Team Flasch. It's right in our wheelhouse, and it's allowed us to grow our company significantly, which for positive reasons means we've got to grow our plant as well. So we are going into a large expansion on our current site, and we will be expanding the brewery's capacity, almost doubling it, and at the same time increasing our efficiency. So we'll be using less water, less energy to make the same great beer.
Imagine a place with endless possibilities. Imagine a place where people come together to build families, businesses, and communities. Imagine a place where small-town values and progressive qualities are in perfect harmony. Imagine a place rich with so much vitality. Imagine your future in Martensville.
Second end underway here. The Flasch team with lead Daniel Marsh has thrown the tight center guard, and now Kody Hartung asking Brady Kendall to throw up the corner. These two teams, both Saskatchewan based. Colton Flasch will obviously be the favorite going into the season for perhaps taking a second straight provincial crown. But the Hartung foursome certainly has to be considered one of the favorites to make the playoffs at the Tankard as well. Looking for the come around on the center guard here. And comes to rest, just nibbling the top of the button, dead behind cover. Brady Kendall will be asked to follow that stone down. This one looks like it might be a little tighter to the guard. They're going to have to work to get by. Not going to get by. Just rubs off. And the shooter spins and actually bites the top of the 12-foot. So Colton Flasch able to make a play on that stone. This is the second. Kevin Marsh making brother Dan sweep pretty hard. Makes the hit, stays right there. That was the fifth rock of the end, so Kody Hartung can make a play on the guards if he wants to. There is a port, he can get to shot rock. He's going to look at the double peel and hopefully spin up to get a second corner. Brady Kendall, Brady Scharback, the new player on this team, has played with Brady Kendall, the lead, before. Well, they'll not be happy with that result. He gets the peel on the one center guard, but too thick, just rolls over and covers shot rock. And the Flasch team has been putting pressure on every team they've played against so far, and a chance here to put some pressure on in the second end. Really, if not for an uncharacteristic missed double in the first end, they would have had Hartung in some hot water in the first as well. Kevin Marsh with the guard, and now you have to think Kody Hartung is going to be looking for a way to clean things up a little bit. They could play the straight back run. The only real downside to this, if you ever just drive it by the stone in the rings, you probably leave your guard out front again. Then Colton will be able to start overlapping guards. looking for some extra curl here. Catches the first one thick enough that he does make contact. That shot stone at the top of the button. Ray stone stays in the rings, but did roll out into the open. Colton Schneider will have a chance to make a play on it, but for Kody Hartung, better situation now. Even if they roll back under cover, they're probably, well, I was going to say they're probably behind the tee line. They'll probably be splitting the tee line anyway. Really trying to hold this straight to hold the shooter at all. Makes contact. It will remove the red stone, but the shooter rolls out of play as well. But nothing in the rings, 4 rocks out front. A little congested in the middle for Kody Hartung, but he'd like to try to find a way to score 2 here. We're on to third stones. If you start peeling guards now, you can't get rid of all of them. So he elects to ask Tyler to come between the higher blue guard and the red tight to the rings and see if he can't bury in the top 12 foot behind that blue center guard that's sitting on the 1 in the original 16 logo. Looks like he's got the port. Nothing out of the brushers yet. This is going to slide a little deep and might come out in the open. Definitely see, I think you can see all of it. So a very similar shot for Colton Schneider to what he threw on his last one, just a little bit further over this time. Over curl just a little bit on his first attempt. We'll see if he can make the adjustment here. And another chance to perhaps hit and roll in behind cover. Buzzers are close, so they must like the weight. Now picking it up, makes the hit, and does roll dead in behind cover, top of the button. There is a port between the red guard and the blue guard. You could certainly get through there with a draw because of the stagger. Looks like Kody asking Tyler to come through there with enough weight to kill it, but quiet weight. They might be relying on a little bit of late finish to get through, make sure they get through that port. Just waiting on the line here. Brushers are close. Got to get by the red guard first. Made the port. Makes the hit and actually stays right there. So the same shot now for Colton Flasch. This is where you can almost turn around and say, where exactly did you have the room on that last one? Doesn't look like a big port, but he does have that little bit more weight, gets the hit, and does roll in behind the red-blue, staggered on right side of the sheet from the overhead. Kody Hartung can't get at it with his shooter, so looking to play the double peel, but probably try to play it in such a way that he could maybe spill the one red stone into the rings. Looking to hit this probably just a hair on the center. And a shooter rolls far enough to be out of the way. Decision time now for Colton Flasch. He could play a guard, but Kody Hartung loves the run backs. He won't have a shot to score. If you play the guard, he's going to play the run back and try for the blank. If you come into the house, you know you've got the force. These teams know each other really well. And I think there's no discussion of the straight guard. I just think they respect Kody's ability to play run backs too much, and they don't want to give him the chance to blank. I'm now starting to discuss the guard, but even then, thinking about perhaps bringing it in to bite. You'd like to make him face two. If he faces two, he's probably trying to score one. So coming in around the center guard, they don't want to come deep enough to be shot rock, actually, because if they're that deep, they would allow some kind of a double, and Kody Hartung will throw it with the weight where he can maybe perhaps double and roll out for the blank. So full 8 around that guard would be fine. This might be a little deeper than they want, so they might bring it back deeper still now. There is a double there if Kody Hartung wanted to take it on, but really difficult. Probably give up a steal more often than you blank by trying it, so he's just going to follow down the stone that Colton Flasch just threw, try to stop his right on the button and pick up his single here. and will come down to the stone just delivered by Colton Flasch. Nudges it just a little. Picks up his single point. We're all tied up after 2 ends of play. Colton Flasch with last rock in the third.
The reason we trust Western Sales with our business is the people. I'm sure that there's 100 years experience coming out of that shop. We trust them because we do a CMI on our combine and on our tractor. When our equipment comes out of Western Sales, it's going to be good, because if it's not, they send us another combine, they send us another tractor. And we're not naive to the fact that that probably costs them a lot of money. So we just know that the service that we're getting at Western Sales is above par to everybody else.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's gonna make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Sean Joyce with you here live from the Curling Stadium Martensville International. Tied up here after 2 ends of play. The Hartung team tempting the center guard with the lead's first stone, ends up about a foot off the center line. So Colton Flasch asking Dan Marsh now for the corner guard. Kody Hartung now with that first guard not being in the ideal position. Gonna ask for a second one. Might have done that anyway. He's looking for this just a little bit closer to the center line. Probably overlap the two still, but try to protect a bigger piece of the button area. Nothing out of the brushers so far. Definitely wants this higher. And does get just to the edge of the center line, so has protected half the button area now. Dan Marsh will look to come around it. Alan Schneider picked this one up right away. Colton Flasch coming out to help them. They'd like to get this to full 8 foot, but comes up just a little bit short of that. It is about half in the 8 foot and actually buried around the wider of the two guards, the first one. That gives the Hartung team some room to get around everything into the top 4 foot area. Brady Scharbach now with the attempt. And the brushers on this one right away as well. It's got a nice line if they can get it there. Boy, good job by the brushers. They jumped that one right out of his hand. Gets it by both guards and the blue one in the top of the 8 foot. Ends up just a little bit deeper than they perhaps would have liked, but you had to make sure you were by. And shot rock with the corner of the button. Over buried on the longest guard. We have seen a lot of finish on these Martensville sheets all week. So there is an opportunity for Kevin Marsh with quiet weight. Get some finish around the guard and move that stone. Wow. Not only move it, but he stayed right there. A chance to talk with Colton a little bit after their second game, and I mentioned earlier they have been a dominant team so far in their opening 3 games. And I asked him if he was aware that it's only September and you're not supposed to be firing on all cylinders like this, but he just laughed it off. This is one of the few teams that comes into the competition, or comes into the season for that matter, with no changes from last year. And you have to think the way they're playing right now, that is helping them. They know each other very well. They have their systems in place. They've got the communication down, and it shows. They are really firing here in the what is, I think, only their second event of the season, very early. The freeze attempt there comes up short. Colton Flasch now with a chance to put on some big pressure. He's already sitting 2, and he could come around to the top of the 8-foot, even dead freeze onto his own stone. It becomes very difficult for Kody Hartung to get to it again. Kevin Marsh, a delicate tap back on his first one. Looking to make the draw here on his second. He's got a lot more room than the other draws that have been thrown down here, but he does have to get by that red stone in the 12-foot as well. Boy, great job by the brushers. He just whiskered by that red stone in the 12-foot, and that's a good example right there of just how much a curler is in this ice. That stone in the full 12, he just whiskers by it. He's only a foot behind it, or less than that, and he's half buried on it. Kody Hartung looking at the angle, red onto blue. Problem with that is he still might only kill 1 blue stone, and Colton Flasch could still be sitting 2 behind, dead behind cover on the longer center guard. I don't know that he's got anything better, but I don't know if he can kill the 2 blues here. They're close to each other. Maybe he gets both of them rattled. Catches one, does touch the second one, pushes it back. So now Colton Flasch sitting 2 in the 4-foot, but perhaps more importantly for the Hartung team, at least he bumped the one out so that it's partially exposed. And he still has that red stone sitting there that he could run back another time. The Hartung team, like a lot of the men's teams on tour, not afraid to play the runbacks. They like having their rocks in a position where they can promote them. Colton Schneider now with his first stone of this third end, a chance to come around, sit 3, but as much as anything else, what they're trying to do is prevent Kody Hartung from being able to run that red guard onto shot stone. This needs to curl a bit. He wants to tuck it. That's a pretty good spot. Sitting 3 right now. There is a double available, and Colton Flasch knew there would be a double, but you can't make the double and hide your shooter. Whereas if you left him that run back and he made it, he'd be buried. Kody Hartung looking for the double. He's pretty thin in the first one right now. Makes contact with both of them, but the thin contact on the first one means the second one's a dead jam. Spins back to the 8-foot. Still, Colton Flasch sitting 2. And another chance to bring a third one in. Over curl the one that's already in the top of the 8-foot. Part of what he's thinking there is that run back on the red guard, the tighter of the 2 red guards. If you can keep the 2 blues in line, it makes it hard to double them. This has a lot of line if he's going to try to cross it. You know these will finish. A good job by the brushers just to make sure it got in for third shot. Decision time now for Kody Hartung. You could try to come around those 2 blue stones back of the 4-foot, but now you're drawing for your life in an end where you could possibly be giving up 3 or 4. His only alternative really would be the run back. You could get a double, but you wouldn't be shot rock. Could make a play on the stone at the back 8-foot and try to roll over again. You're probably only second shot, but you could get that into a position where Colton Flasch would be able to make a play on it. You would at least eliminate the one in the top 12. It's a shot you could save for your last one though, too. Looking to draw back 4-foot here, has to get by the 2 blues at the top of the house. And that's just going to come up short. Well, now if you're Colton Flasch, you'd like to get in for 4th and perhaps take away any kind of hit and roll he's got on that back 8-foot rock. It's just with the amount of curl there is, it's hard to get a rock in that position. Right where Catlin Schneider's got a broom, that's the line they'd love to get, but you're flirting with that corner guard to get into that position. All the discussion now is about how much ice do we need to get where we want to be. This ice looks like he's trying to tuck it a bit. Captain's still indicating kind of cover that stone at the back of the 8-foot, but we'll see where this one ends up. It just doesn't look like that's enough ice to stay that far off the center line. Rushers had picked this up early. Needs full 12-foot if he wants to sit 4 right now. That's not critical. The line's holding for him so far. And I think that was one of those shots where you make sure you're not too deep. You didn't want to, you could see from the way they were indicating, they didn't want to leave him some kind of shot at a triple. Colton Flasch tried to throw that one too. His brushers give them a chance to sweep it into the rings, and if you don't make it, you at least protect the stone at the back. You're sitting 3 right now. No easy shot for Kody Hartung. Looks like he's playing an angle tap on the red stone that's just half in the 12-foot. And this is a draw tap. He's not trying to kill anything. Has to go really wide to make this too, so into ice that they haven't played yet in this game. Needs a big shot here to salvage something in this end, even if he could cut it down. You're a little thin on the first one and you drive it into the blue, and again, he's not throwing enough weight to kill anything, but if you drove it to touch the blue at the top of the button, or top of the 4-foot area, you would possibly be able to spin in and get second shot and hold Colton Flasch to a chance for 2. Even if you just freeze to it, he's 2, and it's not an easy shot to get the third one. Rushers are close. They must like the weight. Boy, they got to go for the line, though. Is he playing the port, maybe? Comes in off of his own and does get to the blue stone. And I think he did spin in enough to get second shot. Well, I thought when Tyler indicated, he indicated that they were playing it as a tap, but maybe they were signaling coming in off it all the way. Otherwise, great plan B call from Tyler Hartung on the way down. Forces Colton Flasch to make a decision. He's got a chance for a really big end here, but in order to remove that red stone, he's got to take on a little bit of risk. They're looking at the angle run on the wider of the blue guards. If they can drive it by the one at the top of the 8-foot, catch their own stone at the top of the 4-foot. They can't see all of it. They would have to clip it on the side, which would be enough to drive that red stone out the side of the house. And depending on how many blue ones you lose when you do that, you could probably get at least 2. And it looks like it should be fairly risk-free because I don't think, just on that angle, I don't think you could ever get to the nose of the blue stone to kill it without touching the red. That'll be what they're looking at. Is there any way we can hurt ourselves playing this? And then the next question will be, okay, how much weight do we want to throw? Because we're not going to jam solid on either one of these stones. We only need to get it out of the 8-foot to count the 2. It would be nice to keep one of the other stones, either the one at the top 4 or the stone you're raising in, and perhaps get the third point. You're moving 3 rocks on an angle. You can't do it with hack weight for sure. Bumper might not be enough. Colton Flasch doesn't have any problem throwing the big weight. But you might want to bring the weight down a little bit here just to try to get a third, or I don't know whether it would be possible even to get the 4th point here. Well, they've got it lined up. They have an idea where they want to hit it. Colton Flasch with his final stone of the 3rd end, looking for the angle run in. And the sweep called off right away. They haven't touched this one. And they're not going to touch it on the way by either. Slides by everything. So it will be a single point, I believe, for Colton Flasch. the indication it is just the one. Colton Flasch picking up a single. He's got a 2-1 lead. Great shot by Kody Hartung with his last to cut the damages. He'll have last rock in the fourth.
SaskTel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? You can get a grant to help. We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. It's easy. SaskTel has already given away tens of thousands of dollars. There have been lots of great ideas, including kids giving cookies to others, a group set up to welcome newcomers to their school, random acts of kindness, and so much more.
Third stones here now in the fourth end of play. Tyler Hartung looking for a bit of a, I think a run back. I don't think they're playing the straight peel here. Just drives it by the 3 blue stones at the top of the house. It is Colton Flasch sitting 2 right now. Shot stone buried at the top of the 4-foot behind 3 other stones, and now looking to put a 4th. And the other thing for the Hartung foursome on that run back attempt, the shooter didn't roll very far. He might have had a double available on the 2 stones in the rings before. I don't know if he can see enough of that stone that's just biting the 12-foot now. Looking to replace the high guard. Having to sweep to get a little extra curl here. Does need to protect those 2 guards touching the center line are in enough of a lineup with the way this Hartung team can play run backs. You'd hated to leave them that, but by bringing it in tighter, might have given them a better opportunity to run back all 3 of them, see if he can get that stone off the top of the 4-foot. Tyler Hartung. With the big weight, the brush on this one catches 2 of the guards, but that's just enough to spill another one into the top of the 12-foot, and his shooter has again stayed for a centerline guard. Appears to be a little bit overlap still on that one that just spun into the top 12, so that's acting like a double guard. Colton Flasch thinking, well, we maybe don't need a 3rd one. So looking at coming in again, wide around the intern side. From the overhead view, you can just see the red guard. So that gives you an idea how far off the center line that one is. He come around that with the amount of finish we've seen here, come around the blue stone just biting the top 12-foot. He can get into the side of the 4-foot, maybe even nibble the button. And from the hacks, Kody Hartung won't be able to see this rock at all. So another opportunity for the Flasch team to start putting some pressure on. Kody Hartung with his final stone in the 3rd end had to make an outstanding draw, chiseled in off one of his own, just to hold Colton Flasch to a single. The way things looking right now, Cody's going to have a tough shot just to score this end. Colton Flasch looking for the draw. He's by the long guard. Brusher's trying to get this in towards that 4-foot area. Plenty of room by the 2 stones at the top of the 12-foot. Will come to rest full 8. Dead buried on the longest guard. Certainly takes away any draw opportunity that Kody Hartung would have had on that side of the sheet. Shot stone continues to be the one at the top of the 4-foot. Mics on the players, so they can only judge by what they're pointing at, but there's no straight pointing here. As Kody Hartung pointing out, it's point at one and then your broom has to change directions, because anything he's looking at, he's got to hit 2 or 3 here to get that rock off the top of the button, or top of the 4-foot, pardon me. So it looks like he's going to play some kind of a draw, perhaps try to get corner frozen on this attempt. Then he would have a couple of angle run-ins that he could play with his last one. He could make the corner freeze to shot stone. The 2 guards on the left side of the sheet on the overhead. Possibly would have play for either one of those to try to run it into the one he's about to throw and perhaps get a single point that way. Made an outstanding draw with his final stone in the third to cut the end down. Looking to do essentially the same thing here. Needs an outstanding draw to cut Colton Flasch down to 1 for the time being, and perhaps give himself a chance to score, but they're going to have to go just to get this by the long guard. You'd hate to rub off this and plug the hole. Well, he rubs off, and I don't know that he's got enough room now to get to shot stone if Colton Flasch didn't throw. Well, Catlin thinking he could probably make it with a little bit of weight, which perhaps he could. Whether or not you could hold the shooter, another question. Colton Flasch just going to throw the guard, though. Try to take that away. Guard the port. He's got no chance to play at shot rock at all. Not directly, anyway. Settled into the hacks now, and Colton Flasch with his final stone here in the fourth end. He's had pressure on Kody Hartung. Really from the onset, they've had one little miscue that allowed Kody to escape the first end, but they've had pressure on him ever since. And if they can make the guard here, Kody Hartung going to be facing 4 with his final stone, and no real good way to get in to score. Well, Kody, your shot. What do you see? Can he see enough of the outside red guard tightest to the rings to try to slash it in? Or do you have to play a double tap? I don't see much else. Got the front end involved in this discussion as well. It's probably one of those times as a front end player you're wondering, well, why are you asking my opinion now? There's not much to shoot at. Why don't you ask me when we got something? So looking at the double, the long red guard onto, it'll be one of the tighter ones. I'm assuming it's the one closer to center line. And then he needs to bring that in and make contact with the stone at the top of the forefoot. I'd imagine they're not throwing this overly hard, because if you make contact with something, you'd like to at least cut the end down if you don't hit it dead perfect. Playing not just to save himself in this game, but 3 losses already. Really needs this one to keep himself alive in this bonspiel. It's the first one, catches the second, will clip the stone at the top of the 12-foot, spins in towards the forefoot, and with that last little bit of spin, catches a piece of the button. And Kody Hartung, just the way he drew it up, picks up the single point here in fourth end of play. We're all tied at 2 apiece. The Magician has managed to escape one more time. Colton Flasch will have last rock in the fifth. Sean Joyce with you here live from the Curling Stadium Martensville International. And if you're just joining us, you may well have missed the shot of the Bonspiel. Kody Hartung with a angled double tap, chisel off another stone, roll and spin to the side of the button to pick up a single point, shooting against 4 and keep himself in this game. Tied at 2 after 4 ends of play. The center guard went up. Colton Flasch looking for the corner guard. That's the blue stone you see on the left side. Only because I don't think we've seen the teams play that far over just yet in this game. And then the attempted come around catches a piece of the 12-foot, but it is open. Colton Flasch going to ignore it, try to use the corner guard. Dan Marsh, the lead on this Flasch foursome. He's going to have lots of room by the guard. The Brushers thinking about sweeping for some curl, but this might be a little deep as well. Comes to rest just behind the tee line, but it is buried. So now Kody Hartung will look to come around from the wide side. Brady Sharback, the second. In-turn draw. Brushers had to go a little bit to get it by. Brings it right into the top of the 8-foot, dead behind the 2 red stones, top of the house. Rocks have come to rest, so they can make a play on the guard. The red that they're going after is actually biting the rings, so wouldn't have mattered. Chance here to make the hit and roll over behind the corner. If you do that, you probably jam the second red one and maybe enough to at least pop it out in the open. looking out of the brushers. They'd like to hold the hold the shooter here. A little bit of sweep at the end, trying to get a little bit more curl. It just drives it by the stone at the top of the 8 foot. Shooter rolls out of play as well. Now Kody will look for a second guard. Well, I would have liked this guard a little bit higher, get some separation between the two of them, but at the same time, it's got to be in line. Definitely tight enough that there's a chance to get the double peel and perhaps all three of them and keep your shooter somewhere on the corner. Looking at that broom placement, you got to think Kevin Marsh is going to be throwing some big weight here. Rush was called on early. Contact with the second guard, catches the rock in the rings, and just touching the top of the bluestone as it spins across, leaves the bluestone in the back of the 12 foot though, and you can see the shooter's rolled all the way across for another corner guard. Advantage Colton Flasch here in this fifth end. He's got two corner guards to work with. Shot rock sits at the back of the 12. Nothing left in the middle. All Kody Hartung can really do at this point in time is try to get in around that corner guard, choke it off. Not the way you really want to be playing an end when you don't have last rock, but no choice now. Well, and early they made a decision that wasn't getting by. Now I don't know whether it may be picked. They jumped away from that in a hurry. And it does seem to be coming to rest with a bit of a lazy handle. So maybe a pick there. Bad break. Gives Colton Flasch a chance now to play the come around again. Callum Schneider just, I think, trying to confirm how deep do we want this? Where exactly do we want it? You know, if you're top 12 here around those guards, Kody Hartung probably tries to loop around it. If you're at the tee line, he'll corner freeze it. Pressure's down right away. Now this is really moving towards those guards. You know this is going to finish hard from the hog line in. I don't know if they're going to be able to get this by. Maybe just a little light as well. Nudges off the corner, rolls, protects a little bit more of the 8 foot now. So perhaps a little bit better opportunity for the Hartung team. Get around, it's still a corner guard, but you can be a good piece of the 8 foot. I don't think you could still bite 4 and be buried. And again, the sweepers were on this right away. Looks like lots of room now, but you know this is going to bust from the hog line in, and there's a good look at it. On the center line at the hog line, and no chance to get by that stone that was protecting the edge of the air, protecting the 8 foot. Another one that might have been just a little bit light as well. Another opportunity now for Colton Schneider to bury one around those corner guards. More line this time. He's got the weight. This should be close. He's going to have room by the guard, but again, these will go sideways at the end. Switching up the sides on the sweep just to try to get a little bit more curl. Buries a sliver. That's a stone, though, that if he'd had the weight to get to the 8-foot, it's probably dead buried. And a rock sitting in the 12-foot like that is essentially just a guard. That's what Kody Hartung is going to try to use it for. Just come right around it. And once again, the sweepers have picked this up right away. Got to go a little bit wider to get around that stone at the front 12-foot now, so they should be into ice that they know. Had lots of room coming by, so they've gone to sweep for a little bit extra curl, but the sweepers never left that, and that ends up sliding to the back of the 8-foot. In a game that I was covering yesterday, I had to wonder if they were having some issues with the different paths on the sheet, and I wonder there if it's the same thing, because those rocks to the corners, everything came up short. The brushers didn't seem to want to leave that stone alone. He had lots of room by the one at the top of the 12-foot. He ends up in the back 8. Just makes you wonder if it's a little faster down the middle. Does the job for Kody Hartung for now. It eliminates those 2 blue stones sitting in the 12-foot. No real chance for Colton Flasch to make a play on that stone at the back 8, so he's just going to try to follow it down, sit probably at the tee line or just above. Still an opportunity for his deuce if he can make the draw here. Kody Hartung would still have to be careful with his last one if he leaves some kind of a double. Could be for a big end. Brushes are down on this one, but they weren't a panicked sweep early. Still got lots of room by the blue stone at the top of the 12. Got a nice line coming in. Wants to stop this in front of the tee line. And does. Grab a corner of the 4-foot. Kody Hartung can see half of that rock, but it's a little dangerous to try to hit it. First indication was to corner freeze it, but then of course you let Colton Flasch draw anywhere in the 4-foot for 2. You'd have to also be careful not to leave the angle where he could play the red-blue combination onto the red at the back and perhaps get 3 or 4. Talked also about coming around. Really risky to leave a double that way. I think they've settled on the corner freeze. Try to cut the rings down as much as they can. And it'll change the shot just a little bit, at least for Colton Flasch, as he's going to have to go out wide enough to get around the stone you're about to throw. Not without some risk, though. If you ever corner freeze this on an angle where you line up the red-blue to the red at the back of the 8-foot, Colton Flasch doesn't have a problem throwing hard enough to to squeeze 2 red ones out of there and perhaps get 3 or 4. Rushers again were on this early. Definitely didn't want to risk being heavy enough to bounce off and leave a slash double. So it comes up just a little bit short. Still changes the shot for Colton Flasch. He's going to have to be wide enough to get past the red stone that was just thrown, but just needs a sliver of the forefoot to pick up his deuce here. Already sitting 1. And he did throw a draw similar to this in the third end, I believe it was. Remember the broom placement being that same broom placement. So he's got an idea of the path. He just threw a nice draw to the top of the forefoot. Should know the weight. Brushers have an idea as well. 1 brush down right away. The second one hasn't touched the ice yet. Just cleaning. Waiting on the line a little bit. Brushers cleaning this one into the house. Needs a bite of the forefoot. And they will put it right on the corner of the button. Colton Flasch, T-line draw weight. Gets his 2 points here in the 5th end. And for the first time, we've got a 2-point lead. Colton Flasch 4-2 over Kody Hartung. It'll be Hartung with last rock when we come back for the 6th.
SaskTel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? You can get a grant to help. We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. It's easy. SaskTel has already given away tens of thousands of dollars. There have been lots of great ideas, including kids giving cookies to others, a group set up to welcome newcomers to their school, random acts of kindness, and so much more. The ideas and opportunities are endless. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? SaskTel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.
Sixth end underway. Colton Flasch with a 2-point lead after the draw to the corner of the button. They play their tight guard with the first one, and this is Brady Kendall, lead for the Hartung team. Looking for the corner guard. Now the come-around attempt for the Flasch team. Daniel Marsh put up the guard on his first one. One slight difference I think you notice between the two teams so far. When you get a setup like this, Kody Hartung still tends to want to come around from the side where the corner guard is not. He'd like to come around from the other side of the house, which is something that, you know, for a lot of guys that are used to playing on straighter ice or grew up perhaps playing on straighter ice, you come around on the open side, because if you leave it half open, you don't want to leave a hit and roll behind the corner guard. But this ice moves so much, and so much of the ice that they play on these days moves so much. We see Colton Flasch didn't mind coming around between the two guards. He knew you could still bury it, and You have to think it was likely the same turn that Daniel Marsh had on his first attempt, so give him the same shot. Freeze attempt comes down just a little bit strong, rubs off, comes to the edge of the button, but it's exposed now, so a chance for Kevin Marsh. With quiet weight, the amount of finish you get on these stones could probably get to the inside of that and roll under cover. Still got a lot of curling to do if it's going to get to the inside. Gets the nose, stays right there. Nice half-weight shot, just enough to move that stone through the rings. And now Kody Hartung with a bit of a pocket. Yes, it's in front of the tee line, but he's down 2 playing 6. Needs to do something to try to generate some offense here. Going to ask Brady Scharback to try to freeze into that pocket. The objective here is to get a rock in place where Colton Flasch can't get it out. We'll worry about how we deal with the 2 blue stones later. This is going to be just a little strong, though. He comes down between the 2 of them, but nudges that rock back, and now there's room to make a play on the red stone. Colton Flasch opting to just freeze to it. I think the red is sitting shot right now. Piece of this stone behind cover, but we have seen some precision removals on stones like that all week long here in Martensville. Colton Flasch happy here to get the freeze, though. It would really shrink the scoring area, and this stone would be in a powerful position. Not right on the face of the red stone, but still pretty strong position for that stone. Tough for Kody Hartung to make a play on it. He's going to look to freeze on top of it again. See both teams now likely for a shot or 2 at least. Just trying to jockey for position on that center line. Both teams very good at the runbacks. But you've got to have an angle set up for yourself in the house before you're going to want to play it. And this might be just a little bit strong again. He's going to come down, nudge both blue stones. So it's the Flasch stone sitting shot right now. Little shrug from Colton, maybe thinking the same thing I am. I'm not sure who's got the better angles here. They're not great either way. It is the Flasch stone that's sitting on the center line out front. Catlin looking at what could we run back. But there's a lot of ways where the run back could still go wrong. And I think what they've settled on is a guard. Guard, he's coming right down perhaps and try to get to the inside corner of the red stone that was just thrown. Rushers picked this one up early. Does look like they're playing the long guard. takes away the path to that red stone at the top of the 8-foot. Kody Hartung does have room to make a play on shot stone, though, from the outside. Talked about playing it with delicate weight, try to hold the shooter, but you're never going to hold the shooter in a position where it's going to be second shot. Could just straight pick it. That was the other indication. So you have to be a little careful, even if you can hold the shooter. If you hit that and roll over about 2 feet, you leave Colton Flasch a chance to hit and roll back to the button behind what would be about 5 other rocks. Tyler Hartung with his first stone here in the 6th end. Making the play on shot rock. Brusher was on this right away. He might have been a little bit inside on this. I don't think he's getting by the guard. Well, and now they don't have direct access to that shot stone anymore. Now, the stone that they pushed into the rings, you could probably come off that and get to the button. Colton Flasch looking at it. Do you ever take the risk? He looked at it, I think. You could run the red guard that was just thrown towards the blue that's just nibbling the top of the 4-foot, and you'd kill shot rock, but you hate to run the opposition stone into the rings, and if you don't make it, even by peeling that, you open up the same shot for Kody Hartung again. Might be looking to guard that stone. Now with this ice, I think he's maybe coming around again. Could try to get right to a corner freeze on second shot. Just looking for another guard. They're going to try to chip off now just so they can guard something a little bit wider. I'm not sure that changes much for them, helps them. Kody Hartung looking at that shot I was talking about coming off the blue at the side of the 8-foot in towards the button area. And you make that, gives you a pretty good chance to score. Your chance to get 2 is it's still tough to find a shot to play for 2, but the 4-foot's getting pretty congested and there's not a lot of way in. You might have to make sure you can score first. He's going to make the hit on that, but over curled, hits it right on the nose and actually rolls a little bit farther towards the corner. And now is it high enough that Colton Flasch could use it for something? They're looking at, can they roll behind the red stone that's second shot and get second themselves? Even if you just nudged it a little bit, give yourself a better angle on the blue-red top of the button, wouldn't be so bad. Or is it perhaps they're just looking at taking it away from Kody Hartung, looking at guarding it? So they have settled on playing the guard, taking away that port on the right side as you see it from the overhead, not allowing Kody to try to come off of his own one more time. A lot of rotation on this stone, and that's going to hold it a little straighter. This is going to need to curl if he's going to plug that port at all. Trying to get some extra curl and maybe chisel off their own. Just ends up with a third one on that line. Tyler, when he hit that stone in the last one, did roll a little bit farther behind the corner. I maybe feel they can't see enough of it now to come in off of it. So they're going to play the long angle raise, and this will open up that stone at the edge of the 8-foot as well. So right now they don't have a draw path to get to the button. If they peel this guard, that would at least open up a draw path, and they would have that in off on their own. There's always the chance you could make this shot if he can drive it onto the red at the top of the 8-foot. You might move both blues out of the 4. He's not going to throw big weight here. Hits that first one very thin, drives it between everything else, so just acts as a straight peel. I have to think that Colton Flasch's first thought is going to be to get rid of that red stone in the corner of the 8-foot, because not only could Kody Hartung come in off of it, but with that red at the top of the 4-foot corner frozen, you could come off that red stone at the edge of the 8-foot, come into your own, and it'll spin in towards the button area. You might even get 2. They talked about just peeling it out. A little tricky to do that without maybe taking something else with it. So they're, I think, opting for the guard again. Just needs to take away the inside of that rock. Could actually, if he's up high enough with this guard as well, could take away the draw path to the very edge of the button. Pressures again, going on the offside, looking for some extra curl. Needs to cover a piece of that rock. And I don't know whether he covered much of it at all. Certainly enough that I don't think Kody's got any chance to come off it for 2. He could play a chisel off of it perhaps for 1, very similar to the shot that he played in the first end to cut Colton Flasch down to 1. They're still looking at, is there any way with the combinations, the red, blue, red, the way the angles are sitting, is there any chance for 2? Tyler looking at running that blue guard that Colton just threw. I think what they're thinking here, and you know, the Hartung boys know each other so well that even with mics, it's hard to know. They don't talk a lot, but if you can make the run onto the red at the top of the 8-foot, jam it onto the blue right behind it. Now it's going to touch that red stone at the top of the 4-foot and come spinning across, perhaps take the blue out the side of the 4. Both of those will spin out more or less sideways. Now, the blue-red looks like it's angled to come past the one at the back 8-foot, but when you're coming at that angle, it might drag a little bit, and if you ever promote it onto the one at the back of the 8, this could be for 3. But again, a little thin on the first one, just drives it into the 3 guards on the center line. It's going to be a steal of 1 for Colton Flasch, and he takes a 5-2 lead into the 7th end.
The reason we trust Western Sales with our business is the people. I'm sure that there's 100 years experience coming out of that shop. We trust them because we do a CMI on our combine and on our tractor. When our equipment comes out of Western Sales, it's going to be good, because if it's not, they send us another combine, they send us another tractor. And we're not naive to the fact that that probably costs them a lot of money. So we just know that the service that we're getting at Western Sales is above par to everybody else.
Imagine a place with endless possibilities. Imagine a place where people come together to build families, businesses, and communities. Imagine a place where small-town values and progressive qualities are in perfect harmony. Imagine a place rich with so much vitality. Imagine your future in Martensville.
Ooh, little wobble there by Brady Scharback. And another attempt, not able to get by the corner guard. Again, spills back to the center. Those guards so high we can't even get them in the overhead shot. It looks like they're just going to play the straight peel. I think Colton took a quick look. Could you hit half a rock on the other side and maybe catch the back end of that one? Decided not to take it on. Rolls out of play. And another attempt at the second corner guard for the Hartung team. Needs to generate 2 here, somehow or another. We're on third's first stone. You'll probably throw at least one more corner guard. That corner that's out there is so long that if you did come around it, the Flasch team could get at it with hack weight. So really you're trying to get a tight guard here. The long guard just protects the tight guard. And you're hoping the tight guard can protect one in the house for you later on and give you a chance to draw for 2. Got better line on this one, but doesn't have quite the legs to get there. Flasch can still see it, so he's going to make a play on the tighter guard. Again, that long one doesn't really worry him. That's precision peeling right there. Catches an inch of that stone. Now, and I wondered if Kody might try this. He's going to look to come around that blue stone at the top of the 8-foot. And this all comes down to that high guard isn't good enough to protect a rock by itself. So you try to come around the blue. Even if you're back 12 foot here, it doesn't have to be shot rock. You're just trying to put a stone in a position where Colton Flasch can't get at it. With 3 stones left to come, if you're going to get 2 points, this is probably the shot to do it. Brushers were on this one early. These are always a little tougher for both the brushers and the thrower because you're trying to come to the back of the house. It's not a shot you normally throw. He doesn't have the weight to get there. Just nudges off the corner of that blue stone, and it'll be another opportunity for Colton Flasch to simply make the hit. And the initial indication was just roll right out of play. I don't think you want to just hit and roll over towards the corner like that. That'll essentially be the second corner guard. You don't want to be staggered on your own, though. Well, you know, his first indication was to just roll right out. That might be the way to go. We're on the brush right away. Well, now I've got to go to plan B, I think. Try to hit and just roll right in front of your own, dead lined up. He's got them almost touching. There is a bit of an angle there, but when they're that close together, if Kody Hartung draws behind it, even with the angle, you can hit it a little off nose with the way the rocks drag. It'll come straight back. Doesn't have much choice. It's all he's got to work with, so he's going to have to play it. Now it does change things a little bit for Kody. On Tyler's stone, you could afford to come to the back 12 foot. With this one, you can't, and only because if you bury this rock in the back 12, in order to use it, you'd have to play a double on the blues. Well, you can't make a double on those blues without either losing your shooter or dragging the back one onto the stone you're about to throw. So he needs to get shot rock here, even if he's back 8, and has to be buried. See if Kody Hartung can pull one more rabbit out of his hat. It's got nice line coming in. It's all a question of how deep this is going to be now. Puts it back 4, just grabbing a bite of the button. There may be a sliver of it available. Kody Hartung did the best he could do with that. Now Colton Flasch looking at, you know, this rock will drag. It's just a question of how much. Is there ever a chance that it could drag enough to go right by? There's a few smiling faces. I don't know if they're sure. You know, if you hit half a rock on the top one, it's definitely coming. It's not going to go on the angle that it looks like they're lined up to go past it. It's going to come towards the red, but those rocks are so close together. It probably goes past the nose of the red. They're only 5 feet apart. I don't know if there's enough room to go over the top. You have to think when they're grinning like that, that's what they're worried about. We're going to find out in about 6 seconds. Colton Flasch looking to make the hit on the outside of his blue. Drag the second one back. No danger of it going over the top. It comes right into the face of that stone. And it is Colton Flasch sitting 1 on the button. It is wide open. Kody Hartung with his final stone. Going to make a play on it. I have to think, probably trying for the blank here. I haven't seen the stats, but you probably got a better chance in the 5 rock free guard zone to score 3 with, as opposed to try to steal 2 without. And if you can do that, that's just to get into an extra end. First things first, he needs the hit here. Makes the hit, does roll the shooter out of play. We've got our first blank end of this game. Colton Flasch continues to lead by a score of 5-2. Kody Hartung will see if he can pick up 3 in the 8th to get to an extra end. Final end, perhaps, for this men's game on Sunday morning. have to expect that Kody Hartung is going to throw a second corner guard as well. And if you're going to get 3, and this goes back even before the days of the free guard zone, in a perfect world, you always want to come in on the third first stone. And if you've got 2 good free guards, you know, it's there to be done. You come around on your first one, third's first stone, you do need a bit of a break. You're only going to have 1 guard at that point in time. You expect the opponent has been peeling. And Marsh going to make it even tougher for you as for the second end in a row, he makes the nice tick, puts that stone into the 12-foot. Now you have to guard that stone. You're only going to have 1 guard to work with for the rest of the end. In a perfect world, if you're going to try to get 3, you need a miss out of the Flasch team in their final 4 stones somewhere. You can't control that. All you can control is try to execute your shots, make the Flasch shots as difficult as they can. First things first, you want to get the corner guard up, protect that stone in the rings. Nothing out of the brushers. Now looking for a little extra curl. You want to protect that stone. This time they actually get some cover on that stone that's in the rings. You can see a little bit of it from the outside. Colton Flasch indicating there's some risk with what we can see. We could just push it onto the blue. That wouldn't be the end of the world. Get it out from behind the corner. Looks like they've settled on making a play on it. Kevin Marsh by the guard. And I think just touches the edge of that stone, and now it's dead buried. I'm not even 100% sure, but I think it touched the stone on the way by. Well, decision time now for Kody Hartung. You can play the second guard for a while. Hope that they just peel one at a time. Eventually, if you pull a second one around the corner guard, hope they miss the run back, and that's your chance to get a third one in. I think he looked at perhaps coming to the back of the 8-foot now, but probably still this early. You want to throw a high corner guard, protect the tight corner guard. Gets the high corner, but probably overcurls the situation just a little bit. And Colton Flasch has enough of the stone tighter to the rings to make a play on it. Not able to get by the higher guard, though. Still gets the peel. So Hartung going to look to replace that corner guard. Fourth stone at the end here, the final second stone for Brady Scharback. probably gets those guards in a little bit better of a lineup now. So Colton Flasch just going to make a play on the top one. If you don't get those guards lined up, you're actually, in this situation, probably better off if you're a little tighter to the center line, because if you leave the outside of that rock, he's got to peel it towards the blue in the button, and I don't think he's going to risk that this late in the end. Now, I said you don't like to come in until the thirds first, but essentially that rock at the top of the 12-foot is like you did come in on the thirds first. You could throw one more guard, or you can come in now. The only downside to coming in now is Colton Flasch is going to make a play on the guard, try to drive it towards one of the 12-foot. If he misses it, you still probably have to guard it one more time. To help that one through the back, and just hangs on in time. It's got full 12 at the back, and they are all lined up. Flasch going to ask Callan Schneider to make a play on the guard and put that broom position. Expect big weight coming here, and you'd love to get two. You'd love to take the one at the top of the 12-foot with it. Even if you straight peel it, though, there's a double on the two stones in the house. Long double, but it's there. Catches the guard, catches the stone at the top of the 12, catches the one at the back of the 12, kills two stones, does leave one in the 12-foot, but it's exposed. Kody Hartung looking for the come around. Room by the guard, but the question is this going to stop in time? With that stone coming to rest in the back of the 8-foot, Colton Flasch eyeing up the double. Callan Schneider likes the idea, just play the hit and roll into the rings off that one. And I understand his thinking. You know that Kody Hartung can't really hit on the next one. He's probably going to have to come around again. If you've hit and rolled to the middle, he's got two rocks he's going to have to deal with on his last one already, and may not have a clear path to get them both out. On the other side, Colton thinking if you And with the double that ends the game, Colton Flasch moves to 4-0, secures some kind of a playoff spot, still hoping for a chance to finish in the top 3 and perhaps move directly into the semifinals. That fourth loss should eliminate the Hartung team from the competition. It's been a tough weekend for them, but we've got 3 more draws yet today to finish off the preliminary round and determine who all the playoff teams will be. And of course, we will have the championship playoffs for you tomorrow as well. I want to thank everyone for joining us here this morning on Curling Stadium from the Martensville International. My name is Sean Joyce. Good morning, everyone. We'll see you this afternoon for more preliminary round action.